members, especially our visitors and guests, please note the following important announcements. By attending the remote Zoom meeting, which is also live streamed on YouTube, you agreed to the public policy of Toastmasters International, as well as the unassociated remote hosting service. Some of your personal information, such as name, image, and any shared messages, will be recorded. Your remote attendance hereby discharges Toastmasters International and Leadership Speak and any of its members from all claims, demands, rights, purposes, damages, and liabilities arising out or in connection with the use or distribution of said video recordings, including but not limited to any claims for invasion of privacy, appropriation, or of likeness or definition. Zoom Master, kindly start the recording. Welcome to Leadership Speak, an advanced Toastmasters club for leadership development. We are one of the top 5 clubs globally. I am Fabian Joseph, your sergeant at arms for today's meeting. Our club mission: we provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in a greater self-confidence and personal growth. Our leadership statement. As Leadership Speak is the premier club for experienced Toastmasters to become better self-directive leaders. We are an advanced club focused primarily on leadership development in everything we do. Ladies and gentlemen, during our meeting, our timer has a virtual hands raised, so we all can immediately see who is keeping the time. Our Toastmaster of the day, who will lead our meeting, is Toastmaster Lydiah. He has been a Toastmaster since 2022 and has held various positions such as President, Vice President of Membership, Vice President of Education, and she is currently monitoring a club and working to become a DTM. She is also an HR professional and is passionate about gender and inclusivity. Ladies and gentlemen, kindly help me welcome to our virtual lectern, our Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Lydiah.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Fabian Joseph, our Sergeant at Arms, for the warm introduction. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are joining us from. And welcome to Leadership Speak. I'm honored today to be your Toastmaster of the day. The meeting theme today is Trailblazer Leadership, where vision leads. And before we dive into our meeting, I want to speak to our most important people. These are our guests in this meeting. If you are a guest, you are the most important person in this meeting, and you are welcome. Please, a link will be posted with the visitor's book, and we request you to feel free and register. Let us know who you are and how we can help you in your leadership journey, because in Leadership Speak, that is what we do. We are learning from the best. And also, we encourage you to stay until the end so that we can engage you more. Lastly, we encourage all to have the videos on, if at all you can, so that we are able to have a successful meeting. Our theme today is Trailblazer Leadership, where vision leads. And before we start, you know very well this month of March, last week we celebrated International Women's Day. That happened on the 8th last week. And as we say in Kenya, when we eat nyama choma, that is roasted meat, it is so tasty. We don't wash our hands. The reason is when we smell that meat smell, it normally gives us those good memories of the yummy meat that we had eaten. So it's only last week that we celebrated. May I request the men in the room to unmute and tell the ladies in the room, we celebrate you.
We celebrate all
Celebrate you.
We celebrate you. Celebrate you.
Thank you very much. And I really appreciate, and on behalf of the ladies in the room, thank you very much for celebrating us. Because now the Trailblazer leadership, it's about celebrating the Trailblazers. And Trailblazer leadership, it is not just about being the first to cross to the finish lane. It is about being the one who hacks through the bush so others can find the path. Just think about a paved way. It is so smooth, predictable, and it is safe. Women, we can walk with our high heels without any problem. But now again, on the other hand, imagine standing at the edge of a dense bush. It's so dark with nothing but a compass and a conviction. Most people wait for the road to be built. And when you're buying a property, you hear someone saying, no, that place, there are no roads. But a trailblazer realizes that the vision is the bulldozer. Where there is no road, you'll just get a bulldozer and you will come up with a road. On the other hand, vision, it's a compass, not a map. Because a map will tell you where the roads are. But what happens with a map? If at all you have a compass, it will tell you the direction where there are no roads. Once upon a time, I had a mentor who did not just show me the work that he was doing. He spent a lot of hours documenting the failures. Why was he doing that? He was doing that so that I don't repeat the same mistakes, because some mistakes were very expensive to the organization. He was not just leaving a footprint in the mud, but he was laying down stones for a permanent path. Meaning, even me, when I'm handing over the job, what did I do? I had to again do the documentation and leave them there, because it's a path that has already been created. Trailblazing is exhausting. You take the hit for the team so that the team, they don't go through what you've gone through. Now again, may I request you to put on the chat who is your trailblazer. And again, I'm requesting a woman trailblazer. Just put it on the chat. We'll see whether you're putting the chat. We'll again look at them at the end of the meeting. Now, let me tell you about my trailblazer. My trailblazer is the late Wangari Maathai. who was a Kenyan environmentalist, political activist, and the first African woman to win the Nobel Peace Prize. He won it in 2004. And that was because she contributed to the sustainable development, democracy, and peace. And she was the founder of the Green Belt movement in 1977. This green movement empowered women to plant over 51 million trees to combat deforestation, poverty, and improve environment. You can see true trailblazers do not just reach the destination. They make the journey easier for the next person. They leave the path, not the footprint. Leadership is not about glory of the pioneer. It is about the sustainability of settlement. At Leadership Speak, we are constantly exploring ways to do things better, mostly because we have realized that doing things the usual way is just a fancy term for being stuck in traffic. What do? We are here to transform into great leaders by learning from one another and, more importantly, one another's spectacular learning opportunities, also known as mistakes. Because when you make a mistake, that is the start of your success. Because leadership is not measured by how many people you beat to the finish line. It is measured by how many people can follow you without getting lost. Remember, a footprint disappears when it rains, but a path changes the landscape forever. Remember the bulldozer, the trailblazer who saw the bulldozer and came up with a path. That path will always be there. Now, as we dive into the meeting, first of all, I'd like to call our toast to give us the toast today, and that is Toastmaster Joyce Kibe. Joyce said that trailblazers are leaders who do not need to be pushed. They are willing to step in place others are afraid to. They go out of their way. Let me give this opportunity to Joyce Kibe to give us our toast today. Over to you, Joyce Kibe.
Trailblazers are not just leaders. They're initiators. They're pioneers. They see the invisible. They believe in the impossible. And in this, they inspire us to just follow them to the destination that is unknown. Their power is not just in their courage, but in clarity. They help us to trust them even to destinations that we are not aware of. Pathways are not easy, but because we have a vision of the person or the people we want to become, the journey, it's worth it. In Toastmasters, we are all aspiring to be leaders. We take up roles that stretch us, speeches that grow us, and responsibilities that inspire us. Currently, I'm on a TM journey, learning and taking up the journey to become a distinguished Toastmaster. Additionally, I'm also a club president in my local club and a program quality director in Area D, District 114. That's a lot on my plate. Has the journey been easy? No, it's not been easy. But because I know the person I want to become, thus I am pursuing and pushing to becoming the person that I want to become. And that is a distinguished Toastmaster. Today, we celebrate leaders who lead with humility and intention. Leaders leading with purpose and leaders who are willing to take the first step when no one is willing to do it. And today, I welcome you to unmute your microphones and turn on your cameras as we toast today to Trailblazer leadership, where vision leads and greatness follow. Vision leads and greatness follow.
Leads and greatness.
Vision leads and
Vision leads
greatness.
greatness.
Greatness follows.
Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Toastmaster Joyce Kibe. You actually brought it very, very clear that trailblazers, they need clarity and destination. Thank you so much. Now, the next person that I'll call, we have role takers. And we have our timer who will take good record of the time that we will use, and that is Toastmaster Mamadou. Toastmaster Mamadou, welcome. Tell us, what is your role?
Thank you, TMOD, and good day, Toastmasters and guests. My role as a timer for today is that I shall time your, I shall be recording the times on the agenda, and after each session, I will post them in the chat box. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, our timer. I'm looking forward to your report. Now, let me call our grammarian. Our grammarian, again, will take care of our English quotes. Let me call Toastmaster Angela Brown to tell us what will be her role. Welcome, Angela Brown.
Good morning, Madam Toastmaster, fellows Toastmasters, and distinguished guests. As a grammarian, it is my responsibility to pay close attention to all speakers and language usage. I'll take note of improper uses of language, as well as exceptional quotes, words, and phrases. As grammarian, it is also my responsibility to introduce the word of the day. And for today's meeting, the word of the day is pioneer. This word can be used as a noun or a verb. The meaning, a person who is among the first to explore or develop new area. An example of pioneer, Marie Curie was a pioneer in the field of radioactivity, exploring areas of science that no one has studied before. I will let you know how many times the word of the day was used at the end of the meeting when I'm called to do so by the general evaluator. I will give my grammarian report. Thank you. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you. Thank you very much, our grammarian, Toastmaster Angela, and we are looking forward to your report. Let us encourage ourselves to use the word of the day, pioneer. Before we invite our education speaker, let me remind our special guests to kindly register in the visitor's book. It will be posted. Thank you very much. It has been posted. Please register on that book. I would like now to invite our education speaker, that is Toastmaster Irene Sadia, who will tell us more about our theme today, Trailblazer Leadership, where vision leads. Our educational speaker has done a lot of research for our today's theme. Let me welcome the evaluator, that is Toastmaster Vinod Panicker, to tell us more about Toastmaster Irene Sadia's project and her speech today. Over to you, Vinod Panicker.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. Toastmaster Irene is going to present her speech from the path Dynamic Leadership Level 5, and the project is Prepare to Speak Professionally. The purpose of the project is to present a keynote style presentation, a longer speech, Toastmaster Irene has told me to focus on two things, which I would request all the audience also to focus and give feedback. One is structure. Was the structure easy to follow? And the second is, was there a compelling call to action? Looking forward for that. Best wishes. Thank you. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Vinod. Toastmaster Irene Sadia. Irene, she is a teacher of young children. And anyone who has spent time with children knows they have a special way of bringing stories to life through their curiosity. Children are normally very curious, imagination, and excitement. Irene loves stories, listening to them, and reading and sharing them with others. She also has a background in finance where members tell their own stories through patterns, insights, and meaning. She has been a Toastmaster for the last 3.5 years. Toastmaster Irene Sadia, Trailblazer Leadership, where vision leads. Irene Sadia, Trailblazer Leadership, where vision leads. Over to you, Toastmaster Irene Sadia.
Imagine with me that you are standing at the edge of a dense forest. There's no path, no footprints, no sign pointing where to go. All you can see are thick branches, sharp thorns, uncertainty stretching out before you. Most people will wait for a map, wait for instructions, wait for someone else to go first. Now, every path that exists today exists because before was a forest. And every path today existed because somebody was brave enough to step forward before that path existed. Ralph W. Emerson says, "Do not go where there is a path. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail." And that is what trailblazers do. A trailblazer sees possibilities. They step into the uncertainty and they move through the fear and doubt, clearing the way so that others after them will find a path to follow. Trailblazer leadership does not begin with titles. It begins with a decision to move forward when the path isn't clear. And if you look closely at all the people who have changed the world, you will notice 3 things about them. And these are the 3 that I have. They see farther than others can see. Number 2, they act courageously when earlier than everyone else does. And 3rd, they lift others as they move forward. Every path in history exists because someone was willing to do these 3 things I've just mentioned. So you've heard that I like stories. So I'd like to tell a few stories, just showing us how trailblazers behave. So my first one is courage. In 1955, a woman boarded a bus in Montgomery, Alabama. Her name? Rosa Parks. When ordered to stand up and give up her seat, she said no. Small decision. Quiet moment. That moment ignited the Montgomery bus boycott, which is one of the defining events of the civil rights movement. Trailblazers move, and when it's uncomfortable, they speak when silence is easier. They act when others hesitate. And Rosa said, I would rather be remembered as a person who wanted to be free so that others would be free also. So a trailblazer's whisper is enough that quiet courage changes the world. And we know leadership is not tested when things are comfortable. Leadership is revealed when courage is required. Number 2, inspiring others to move. In my story, the head of my story is back in the day when countries were racing to the space and sending astronauts to the moon. They required very precise calculations because the smallest error meant disaster. One such mathematician was Katherine Johnson. And Katherine worked at NASA in an era where women, a Black woman, was not very recognized. But her brilliance shone, spoke for itself. In fact, one astronaut, John Glenn, said before any mission, get the girl to check the numbers. So you see, Katherine allowed others to create confidence in what she had done. Her work did not only guide astronauts into space, her brilliance shone, and it changed who was seen as capable. It changed what people believed was possible. And it opened a path so wide that others could walk easily on it. Third is being able to see what others do not see. Across Kenya, forests were disappearing and communities were suffering. And so what others accepted as normal or saw a decline and felt they could do nothing about, Wangari Maathai saw possibilities. What did she do? She planted one tree. People laughed. She planted another tree. She was mocked. Planted another tree. She was arrested. She planted another tree. And that planting gave rise into the Green Belt movement, which has helped to plant millions of trees and restore livelihoods for communities across Africa. Wangari once said that it is the little things citizens do that make the difference. Vision is not about predicting the future. Vision is seeing the possibility before others believe that it is possible. Before I tell you my next story, I want you to try out something with me. Everyone here today, think about one step you've been postponing because the path is uncertain or the path does not even seem to exist. Maybe it is going back to school or applying to that school that you don't think you could even get in. Maybe it is that difficult conversation, a project you're afraid to start. Maybe it is standing up when it is easier to stay quiet. If that kind of moment comes to mind, please raise your physical hand or virtual hand. Okay. So please look around the virtual room. And as you see those hands going up, they represent moments when courage beats comfort. And sometimes your single step will not only change your life, but it will change the life of generations who are coming after you. So keep that in mind as we dive into my next story. And you probably may be thinking, trailblazers are only in history books. They are only important people. They are at the UN. They are Nobel laureates. But some of the most powerful trailblazers are the ones whose stories begin quietly in villages, in families, in moments no one notices. I want to talk about a woman who took one such step. Her name was Turi. Turi was married to the love of her life. They were raising their 7 children in Nairobi, Kenya. Life was grand. And then one day, her husband died. Suddenly, she was alone. 7 children. No income. No clear plan. Her late husband had worked for the Kenya Railways, and so they graciously allowed her to stay in the staff quarters as she put her life together. And then they ferried her back to their village. Back to Christmas. Back to pity. Back to uncertainty. The wife in the city was now the widow in the village. And while many people looked at her and her situation and saw the end of opportunity, Turi saw something else. And in the whispers and in the village conversations, she heard that the government was offering bursaries to students who could not afford to pay school fees. The door just slightly opened. But there was a challenge. It was not the era of WhatsApp, email, and all the fancy gadgets we have today. She had to physically go to the district officer's office. So one morning, 3 a.m., she woke up her eldest son, Davy. The village was still quiet. The air was cold. There was no car waiting. There was no Uber. There was no bus. It was a 4-hour walk to the district officer's office. So Turi put on her overcoat and covered her head and told her son, "Let's go." And they began walking. Sometime into their walk, a cyclist came along, looked at them, and offered a ride. Turi had no issues with who was taking the ride. She told the cyclist, "Take this young man. He knows where to go and he knows what to go and do there." So off they went. Turi kept walking. I wondered, was the moon even shining? And as she walked, every step, dust rising up her feet. I wondered, did she ever think to sit on the way, stop, go back home? I don't know. 4 hours alone one way and 4 hours the other way. 8 hours of walking, not for certainty, but for possibility. She kept walking because she believed education would change the life of this son and the others. So Davy, her son, gets to the district officer's office. He asked to see the boss. The answer? He's not in. Davy chose to sit. No one was asking questions. And he was hoping that the boss will come in. And after an hour or two of waiting, while looking at the district officer's door, marked District Officer Mr. White, it is like he willed it. As he intently looked at that door, the door opened and Mr. White walked out. The one who was not in. Davy knew this was his moment. He quietly but swiftly got up and moved across the room, right next to Mr. White, and said, "Excuse me, sir, may I speak with you?" Mr. White, startled, looked around. Who's that who's speaking with him? Because when he opened the door, there was nobody. The young man had spoken in such impeccable English. And so Davy quickly explained why he was there. And the door that had shut opened, and Mr. White ushered him into the office and shut the door behind them. Eventually, they both walked out. Davy, a quiet smile on his lips. He didn't say a word. And then he went and sat outside to wait for his mother. Shortly, his mother arrived. And he told her the bursary had been secured. When Turi began that walk that morning, she did not know what that walk would mean decades later. And that teenager on that bicycle, Davy, was my father. Turi was my grandmother, the woman who walked for 8 hours for an opportunity. Everything I am today is because of that walk. Because Turi walked, my father could rise. And because my father rose, I can stand here today. My grandmother did not know that her walk would reverberate in this room today. And pioneers rarely know how far their actions will echo. They simply take the step. When you leave this room today and return to your life, your work, your community, your family. Somewhere in that life, there is a forest waiting. Somewhere in that life, there is a project no one has tried. There is a conversation that requires courage. There's a person who needs someone to believe in them. When that moment comes, remember, every path in history began as someone's first courageous step. Someone who saw what others were not able to see. And someone who was willing to lift others so that the ones coming behind would find a wide path to walk on. Remember my grandmother Turi walking down that dusty road before sunrise. Remember my father Davy, who knew this was the moment to snatch that opportunity. Simply take the step. When the path is unclear and when doubt whispers, when fear says, wait, take the step anyway. Because the difference between bystanders and pioneers, the difference between bystanders and history makers, the difference between bystanders and trailblazers is often just that one courageous step. Your forest is waiting. What step will you take? Will you allow someone to stand where you stand today because you are brave? What step will you take? What is your first step? Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Toastmaster Irene Sadia. You've given us a lot of nuggets related to Trailblazer leadership, where vision leads, and all the other members and our guests. Let us ask ourselves, what courageous steps are we going to take to make ourselves better and to clear way for others? It is those baby steps that make others not to go through what you went through. We make it better for them. Family, where you're working, or even friends. I leave it to you. Let me go back to our guests, the most important people in this meeting. How are you faring on? I invite you to sign on the guest book. If at all you've not signed on the guest book, and we appreciate your feedback. Next, we have a series of prepared speeches, and our first speaker is Marie Cusin. Marie, how are you?
Well, thank you.
Welcome, and Marie Cusin will be evaluated by Toastmaster Paramjit Singh. Toastmaster Paramjit how are you, Toastmaster Paramjit?
Thank you, I'm fine, thank you very much.
Toastmaster Paramjit, please tell us more about the speech of Marie Cusin and the project that she will be working on. Over to you, Toastmaster Paramjit.
Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster of the day. Toastmaster Mary is presenting a speech from Motivational Strategies, and the project is Introduction to Toastmasters Mentoring. And the project objectives are: The purpose of this project is for the member to clearly define how Toastmasters envisions mentoring. The purpose of this speech is for the member to share some aspect of a previous experience as a protege. Apart from that, Mary has asked me to focus on a few things. Number one is impact of the silent mentor, then theme integration, and call of action. I will be focusing on those particular points also. And best wishes to Mary for your speech. Over to you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Paramche. Toastmaster Mary Cusin is giving a speech about the pioneer's mirror when the mentor is silent. The pioneer's mirror when the mentor is silent. Mary Cusin. Over to you, Mary Cusin.
He has sold over 350 million books. He has been translated into 80 languages. And yet, when I wrote to thank him, in my head, he never replied. He doesn't even know I exist. And yet, Paolo Selco was my personal pioneer. Dear guests and dear fellow Toastmasters, today I will share with you what it means to be the protege of a silent mentor. To understand my journey, let us explore the three stages I went through. First, the encounter with my mirror. Then, the three life lessons I drew from it. And finally, my transformation as a leader of my own life and of my team. So let us begin at the very start with the moment that held a mirror up to my face. The encounter, the illusion of desire. I was going through a period of social questioning beyond my involvement in my various associations, including Toastmasters. Should I continue to participate in my neighborhood executive committee? In The Alchemist, I encountered two characters who acted as a mirror. The crystal merchant who prefers the safety of his shop to his dream. And the alchemist, the guide who forces Santiago, the book's hero, to find his own path. The line that struck me was this: the merchant never stopped talking about his dream of going to Mecca. Yet the truth is, he has no intention of ever going to Mecca. Closing the book, I realized with an overwhelming sense of vertigo, I was the merchant. I was pursuing goals out of habit without truly wanting to live them. That is how my silent mentorship began. Coelho did not clear the path for me. He forced me to do it myself. On that realization, as uncomfortable as it was, led me straight to the three lessons that changed how I lived. The impact. Three lessons. From the silent mentor. If traditional mentorship offers advice, like a Toastmaster mentor, the alchemist style of mentorship holds up a mirror instead. These three lessons changed my practice as a leader. Questioning the obvious. I learned that what seems obvious, the promotion, the conventional path, often masks mask a fear of the unknown. As pioneer does not follow the crowd, they questions their direction. 2. Vision beyond appearances. Within a team, I no longer only ask, what do we want to achieve? But also, why? Is it for the safety of the shop or for growth across the desert? 3. The courage of truth. An inner pioneer does not lie to themselves. They accept that the greatest obstacle to their personal legend is themselves. Armed with these 3 lessons, I was finally ready for the harder part, letting go, and clearing the path, the transformation. This mentorship was radical. I let go of ambitions that were nothing but noise, in order to clear the path toward what truly matters. My vision as a leader is not borrowed maker. No, my vision as a leader is now clear. I no longer chase illusory journeys to borrowed makers. I build together with my team projects that take us across the vastness of the desert rather than the narrow safety of my counter. I now choose with the whom and above all, the why. Which brings me to the final question, the one I now want to leave with you. In closing, while a guide is essential, the most powerful mentor is the one who forces us to look ourselves in the face.
It looks like there is some technical issues with the speaker, TMOD. Shall we move on?
Okay. In fact, I thought it was mine. Sorry for that. Thank you very much, Marie Cusin. And now let's go to our second speaker. Our second speaker is Toastmaster Ghada Almojarkish. And Ghada will be evaluated by Toastmaster Aruna So. Hi, Ghada, and hi, Aruna. Welcome.
Hi, TMOD. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Welcome. Could you kindly tell us more about the speech of Ghada and also the project? Over to you, Toastmaster Aruna.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster of the day. Good day, fellow Toastmaster and esteemed guest. Today, I have the privilege to evaluate Ghada's speech. Ghada's project is about focus on positive. This is the first project level 3 from presentation mastery. And the objective of this project is for the member to practice being aware of their thoughts and feelings, as well as the impact of their responses on others and share their experience completing the project. In addition to the primary objective of this project, Ghada told me to focus my evaluation on the vocabulary and the ideas flowing. During the evaluation part of the meeting, I will give my report on Ghada's speech. Best wishes to Ghada, and back to you, Madam Toastmaster Bede.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Toastmaster Aruna Son. Welcome, our second speaker. That is Ghada Almojarkish. Ghada's title is Mind Your Mind. Mind Your Mind, Ghada Almojarkish. Welcome, and the floor is yours.
Thank you. Be positive. Look on the bright side. I used to shrink when I heard those words. I'd mumble under my breath. What is that even supposed to mean? To me, it felt like denial, like pretending that nothing bad had happened, like flipping pain and failure into something simply were not. I hadn't lost my mind. I wouldn't lie to myself or to anyone else. Actually, I am a frank person. I tell the truth exactly as it is. No sugarcoating, no filters. If that might bother someone, it's their problem, not mine. Although my intentions are good and my heart is in the right place, but somehow I kept being misunderstood. So I had to ask myself an honest question. How could I ever feel positively in the middle of real frustration? That question changed everything. The story begins a long time ago. I was walking through the street of Damascus, glancing at storefronts, when I passed a small bookstore. There, in the window, sat a book with the title Mind Management. It struck me as strange. I'd heard of time management, financial management, company management, but managing your own mind? Was that even possible? That book was a pioneer, opening a door I never knew existed, revealing how the mind truly works and what it is truly capable of. It became the first of many books, and from that moment on, I was hooked. It has been a long, tough journey, struggling with my own thoughts, battling my own mind, trying to reprogram the way I see the world. Today, the situation may be the same. The challenge may be identical. The behavior may be just as frustrating. Yet, everything changes depending on how we have trained our minds to see it. It all starts with the words we say to ourselves. Those words become the sentences we use to describe what is happening. And those sentences shape the feelings that follow. All of this happens in a fraction of a second. So I began paying attention, or close attention, watching the thoughts moving through my mind, noticing how they made me feel and act. Then I tested something. What if I changed one thought? Would the feeling change too? Yes, it worked. So if I can do it once, I can always do it. My days still have both positive and negative moments. So I made a decision to be aware of both. Then, consciously, I choose to find the positive side of what I had always labeled as negative. I discovered that thinking positively requires to sit in a different chair, to read from a different, completely different transcript. There's a word of difference, for instance, between saying, I feel lonely because my husband is away most of the time, and I am investing this free time in reading, writing, and growing. There is a difference between I have so many plans, but I achieve none because of the kids, and I am doing something far greater. I'm building balanced human being. And between people always misunderstand me because they have bad intentions and I didn't express myself clearly enough and I confused them. Between they keep pushing my buttons and drive me crazy, and they are trying to send me a message just in their own way. Same situation, entirely different word. So let me leave you with this. Your thoughts are not simply happen to you. Your mind is not an open street where your thought can wander in. You are the guard at the gate. You are the guard at the gate. You decide what enters, what stays, and what gets turned away. When a negative thought creeps in, you have a choice. Either welcome it, feed it, and let it color everything around you, or you can pause, examine it, and ask yourself, is there another way to see this? Be the pioneer of your own thinking and watch as the world around you begins to shift. Not because it changed, but because you did. Thank you. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Toastmaster Ghada. Mind your mind. You are the gatekeeper of your mind. What you feed your mind matters. And you can even change one thing from your mind. Thank you. Let us go to our third speaker and our final speaker, who is Hmok. She will be evaluated by Sonia Mehdi. Hi, Helene.
Morning.
Welcome, Helene. Hi, Sonia. Welcome, Sonia. Sonia, could you kindly tell us more about the speech of Helene and the project that she will be working on? Over to you, Sonia.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day, Lydia. I'm honored to evaluate Helene's speech today. Her project is part of the Pathway Dynamic Leadership. Level 1, Project 2, Writing a Speech with Purpose. The purpose of that project is to learn and review the basic structure of a speech and present it to define a well-organized speech of any topic. When I connected with Helene, she shared with me that I particularly should focus on her vocal variety and clarity. Good luck, Eileen. Over to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Toastmaster Sonia. Toastmaster Hmok. Her title is The Lesson Inside Failure. The Lesson Inside Failure, Hmok. Hmok, The Lesson Inside Failure. Over to you, Toastmaster Harleen.
Thank you. How would you ever believe that something in your life was a failure, only to realize later that it was actually the beginning of your growth? Greetings, fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests. Most of us have been there, a moment that felt like an ending, a rejection, a loss, and a stumble that only later revealed itself as a turning point. This is a story about one of those moments and what it taught me about the true nature of failure. 1 year ago, I joined Toastmasters. I came here with a specific goal to improve my communication skills and public speaking. What I didn't expect was just how physical the fear would be. The moment I knew I had to speak, the physical sensation of fear was real and overwhelming. Not a metaphor. It was in my chest, my throat, and my hands. I worried about what others heard when I spoke. Sometimes, mid-sentence, everything would disappear. Standing in front of people felt like standing in fog with no map. Uncertain of direction, uncertain of self. Yet, week after week, speech after speech, I kept coming back. Then, last week, something interesting happened. I stood on a stage in a speech contest. Heart steady, voice present, mind engaged. And when the results were announced, I heard, "Thank you for participating. I did not win the contest." In that moment, I felt disappointed. Maybe some of you know that feeling. You work hard, you give your best, and still the result is not what you hope for. In the quiet after this appointment, I began to see the deeper truth. That one word, participating, contained more meaning than I had ever given it credit for. Participating means you tried when trying was not guaranteed, not easy, and not without risk. Showing up is never nothing. It is everything. Participating means courage. I stood on that stage, offered my voice, and was fully present in that moment of vulnerability. That is not a small thing. Participating means growth. the trophy goes to one person, but the growth, showing up, trying, facing fear, that belongs to everyone who stepped forward. That experience on the stage made me realize something profound about leadership. Something I believe every leader eventually learns from hard way. Leadership who create process are not the ones who avoid failure, but the ones who learn from it and continue moving forward. Behind every leader you admire is a journey of effort, obstacles, corrections, and restart. Leadership is not the absence of failure. It is the practice of rising after it with greater wisdom, greater compassion, and greater resolve than before. Today, I see failure through a completely different lens, not as an ending, but as an essential part of the journey. Failure is a part of the path toward success. It is data, not defeat. It is a teacher, not a verdict. It is the price of ambition, and it is valuable to pay. Every time we try, every time we fall, every time we stand up again, we become stronger, wiser, and more courageous than we were before. Failure does not define who we are. Our courage to continue does. So the next time life hands you something that looks like failure, a relationship, a contest, a project, a dream that did not go as planned, ask yourself this: was it this experience trying to teach me? And do I have the courage to get back up and try again? Because the answer to that question is not about winning or losing. It is about who you are becoming. One brave step at a time. You are a pioneer. TMOD, back to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Toastmaster Helene. You've said it all. Fear. I'm sure most of us in the room here can relate the issue of fear. And you made it very clear that the people that we are seeing, good leaders, there must have been a lot of work that went behind the curtain. And that is why we say failure is the beginning of success. We learn through those mistakes. Thank you. Thank you for that. Now, may I ask the Zoom master to share the polls so that we are able to vote for a better speaker. As the Zoom master is doing that, I would like to speak to the guests. I'd like to ask our guests how they are faring up with the meeting, and also invite them to sign on the book in case they've been carried away with their speeches and they forgot to sign. Please take a minute and sign in our guest book. As we are voting, we'd like to know why the theme is relevant to Toastmasters. This works for Toastmasters because, for example, the vocal variety, we can transition from the quiet misery of the forest to the high energy of hacking through the brush. And the body language. This is a great opportunity for expansive gestures pointing towards the horizon and grounded, powerful stances. Now we are going to our next part, very interesting part, where I will welcome our general evaluator. And our general evaluator is our president of Leadership Speak, and that is Holmes Teng, who is a project manager with the Singapore government. May I welcome our general evaluator to take us through the next part. How are you, President Holmes? GE, welcome.
Thank you so much, Lydia.
And over to you. Over to you.
Members and guests, the evaluation session is where we can hear from Toastmasters who have paid careful attention to the speakers from the perspective of someone who wants to help the speakers grow. And the best evaluators that we should all be looking out for are evaluators who work with us in partnership. Speakers and evaluators partner each other. At Leadership Speak, evaluators and speakers are often assigned, sometimes 1, 2, or even 3 weeks in advance. And for those pairs that have sufficient time, they connect, they share their goals, and therefore, when the evaluator gives the evaluation, it isn't just, hey, I heard you said this and that, and I think you may want to try something. It's more of, you have told me this is whom you want to become. This is what I observed today. And this is how you can be closer to whom you want to become. And I'm willing to journey with you to help you reach there. Let us listen to our evaluators. Our first evaluator today is evaluating our toast. She is Nelly Jane Galido. When asked about the team, Nelly says, Trailblazer leadership begins when we choose courage over comfort and dare to turn vision into action. And today she's here looking forward to learn from leaders who challenge limits and inspire others to move forward with purpose. Nelly Jane, let us hear your feedback for the toast.
Thank you so much, TMOD. My takeaway from Joyce's toast is that leadership is not simply about holding a title. It is about becoming a trailblazer, not just a leader, but a pioneer who sees possibilities where others see limits. The key message I received from Joyce is that the journey in one place and leadership is not always easy, yet it becomes meaningful because we carry our vision of who we want to become. Joyce herself embodies this message as a club president, as an area program quality director, and as someone who is currently walking on a journey towards becoming a distinguished Toastmaster. She shows us that growth requires courage, persistence, and clarity. And that is the spirit of a true pioneer, someone who believes in the impossible and works steadily to turn the vision into reality. Joyce, your voice is powerful and confident. carry the emotion of your thought very well and help set an inspiring tone for the meeting. And since your message is strong, on your next meeting, enhancing the visual presentation can make it even more impactful. Perhaps you could use a background that reflects the theme of leadership or inspiration. Some sort of blank background. Also, when you're raising your glass for the toast, lift it just a little bit higher so that it would allow the audience to see the gesture and fully join the celebratory moment. And as you reminded us today, the journey may not be easy, but when we have clarity about who we want to become, every step forward is worth it. Thank you, Joyce, for the inspiring toast and for reminding us that every Toastmaster has the potential to become a pioneer. Back to you, Vinod.
Nelly, you said that your evaluation goal is to listen deeply, learning from your message, and giving feedback that supports their strength. What you have done well is you started off with your key takeaway. And then you also showed that you are listening carefully by listing down what are the key experiences that that the toast have shared earlier. My apologies. What I encourage you to do is that instead of listing the things that you have noted down as individual sentences, say how exactly they have impacted you. For example, when Joy said she was a club president versus when she said she was chasing after a DTM, going to become a DTM. These are two different facts that could have impacted you in two different ways. And in your 3 minutes, it's good to choose one to have a little bit of elaboration how it impacted you, how it helped you to understand the purpose of Joyce. Aside of that, a gentle reminder, there seems to be quite a bit of background noise coming from your end. I know you are making exceptional effort to support the club and being here. If that little bit could be worked on just for this meeting, it would have been an awesome evaluation. Thank you so much, Nelly. Let us move on to the next evaluator, who is evaluating our Toastmaster of the Day. Yes, guest, we even evaluate the Toastmaster of the Day. I'd like to invite Angela Brown, who is the evaluator for TMOD, and let us hear her feedback. Angela, over to you.
Good morning again, fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests, especially you, Lydia. Today, I have the pleasure of evaluating you as Toastmaster of the Day. Overall, I believe you did a wonderful job leading today's meeting and demonstrating strong preparation and leadership. One of the things that stood out to me was that you created the WhatsApp group for all the role players about 8 days ago. Throughout that, you interacted with the group very often, ensuring that all the roles were met. This helped all the role players to be prepared, and you also ensured that the role players were on time for the meeting. I also noticed that another strength was I clearly introduced the theme of the day today in the beginning. You introduced the theme Trailblazer leadership when vision leads. The theme was inspiring and helped us to set the tone for the meeting. You reminded us that leadership often requires vision and courage to move forward, even when the path is not clear. I would like to make one recommendation, and that would be, I also noticed, that you invited the guests to sign the guest book more than once throughout today's meeting. This helps us to be able to make the guests feel welcome and be able to follow up with them after the meeting. And one small suggestion I have for the future is that if we have any sort of technical glitch, such as a member's, a speaker's camera being frozen, that we would just move forward to the next speaker. We can always circle back around to that speaker if they didn't complete their speech. Overall, you demonstrated excellent preparation skills. You demonstrated excellent leadership skills today, throughout the meeting, and even before the meeting in leading all the role players. Thank you for guiding us through the meeting and helping us create positive experience for both the members and the guests. And once again, congratulations for a job well done. Thank you. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Angela. First, I'd like to thank Angela for effectively being a pioneer and a trailblazer, where despite the actual and the backup TMOD evaluator both being unavailable, Angela stepped up just 30 minutes before the meeting, despite her role as a grammarian, to be the TMOD evaluator. That effectively means throughout the entire meeting, she has to listen and to observe very carefully to everything that's going on from two perspectives. That is beyond what I need to do as GE. So congratulations, Angela, for being able to do that. Some suggestions for Angela is that the TMOD role at Leadership Speak, the challenge and the bar that we have for Lydia is that she's the leader of the meeting, and we have all meetings as open house. In that sense, when you have a few points to commend Lydia on, as well as to say how she could improve, it is useful to say the impact of those actions from her or suggestions from you, the impact of this on the guest, if you were a guest. Otherwise, thank you so much. And a gentle note, maybe when you are playing two different roles and you're speaking as a TMOD evaluator, a clean background might be helpful so we can focus on you in your evaluation for the TMOD. Thank you so much. Let us move on with the next evaluator. And he will be Vinod Panicker, who is evaluating the educational speaker. Vinod says, energy transfers from hot to cold, law of dynamics, is how he understands when a leader is in a trailblazer team, and also when the leader becomes a trailblazer. Vinod, let us hear your feedback for the educational speaker.
Thank you, General Evaluator Holmes. Irene, you invited us with you to visit the forest, which was deep, which was dark, which was foggy. And then you led us out into the world of possibilities. What I liked about your speech was what you told me to look into, a compelling call to action. After listening to your speech, I got that courage that I want to do something and find my own path. The second thing that I liked about your speech is your voice. You have a pensive style of delivery, which encourages the audience to think and reflect on what you are saying. And the third and most important, the magnus opus moment of your speech, the storytelling. the personal storytelling, your ability to bring that emotions to life, especially with your grandmother's story. Now, if I have to suggest which path you should try to avoid, one of them would be not to read, because I could see for almost 70% of the speech until you came to your grandmother's and father's story, you were looking down somewhere and reading. You carried with your voice the speech on your shoulder, but that little distraction took away the eye contact from us. So I would suggest that having an eye contact would be better. Second is structure, which you told me to look into. Now, the structure was easy to follow, but the purpose of the speech, this speech is the speech that will take you from a speaker who speaks free to a speaker who will speak for a fee. That means we want to see that professionalism. So, my suggestion, in my humble way, because I saw you today, how emotional you were, I don't want an history and civil right movement lessons. Just speak about your grandmother, father, and somehow I feel that you are very shy to speak about your own self. You are a very good leader. If you wanted to share the message that be courageous, see what others don't see, and when you go, take them and lift them with you, that one story and more details, what your father did after that, what you did, could have been better. Because to me, the Rosa Park and the Catherine was more of a history lesson you were trying to fill. So I would say completely get rid of that. So to summarize, you are an impeccable speaker with a great ability to storytell. Don't just whisper, let the message reverberate. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Vinod. Members and guests, what I hope everyone got out of Vinod's evaluation minimally is to observe as he gave feedback. He drawn what he and Irene have aligned as the vision, a paid speaker, a great leader. And from there, he challenges the speaker to be bolder, courageous, and more open about speaking about herself. And speaking about ourselves, I fully agree with Vinod. Ourselves and our own experiences are sometimes the most powerful stories that we can ever have. Two minor feedback for Vinod. Nitpicking here. Number one, Vinod, as you begin your evaluations, I realized the way that you spoke was a little bit like the. And my mind was more focusing on the tone of your voice more than the content itself. And number two, visually, I find it helpful if you had a cleaner background, or if I may challenge you, even somehow use technology as part of your evaluations to showcase your points. Thank you so much, Vinod, for your evaluation. Our next evaluator is Paramjit Singh. He says, Trailblazer leadership requires courage and creativity to overcome obstacles, challenges, and leaves a lasting impact on the team. Paramjit, let us hear your evaluation for our first project speaker.
Thank you very much, General Evaluator. Toastmaster Mary, congratulations for being a pioneer in introducing the concept of silent mentor, which confirms that when you have a passion to achieve excellence, dedicate yourself, even a silent mentor can transform you. In the times when we don't listen to our mentors, we don't contact our mentors, and contact them for our development, a very strong commitment is required to follow a silent mentor. But your transformation is a testimony to the fact that how seriously you followed your mentor, Malo, and how he helped you to achieve excellence and your goals, and how clarity came to you through his words in the book. Now, things which stood out of your speech: well organized and structured speech, engaging opening, a pinch of humor when you said he never replied, and then a body which was very clearly bifurcated into three parts, like the emotion, impact, transformation, and then your learnings and lessons, and using a mechanology of the mirror. You use simple but very powerful words, which were very clear. I could listen to every word. The word like journey to a borrowed macaws. And you had appropriate gestures and of a fairly varying tonality. You kept us engaged with the story, and I was eager to know what is coming next. What is coming next? And which was coming next, and with your eye contact, continuous eye contact. You can consider the following for enhancing your speaking skill. One is your Zoom presence. You were very well placed, but your head was absolutely on the top of the screen. If you could have moved a little bit behind, your gestures, as well as you were well placed, then in a square, you have already made it on the slide. That will be very clear screen then. Now, the second thing which is very important is if you see the project, it is called about Introduction to Toastmaster Mentoring. And the first objective also is to see how Toastmaster envision the Toastmaster mentoring. So adding at the end, maybe because we couldn't listen to you, it was at the end you would have told that like how Toastmaster mentoring can also help everyone and help a lot of our speakers and leaders. So that one part you could have added on to this by doing this with a wonderful speech structure and a very good analogy. Just adding this Zoom presence and your Toastmaster mentoring, it would have been a star speech. Over to you, Toastmaster G. Holmes.
Thank you so much, Paramjit. Paramjit illustrates for us what a careful, active listener who is taking down notes on many different pointers. It's able to observe and able to comment on, which I'm very sure, given more time, he could have went on and elaborated with much greater detail. For Paramjit, what I would suggest is that instead of having a big part of your evaluation looking at your notes and slightly facing away looking at your notes, I would suggest choosing 3 points, at most 4. And for each of them, let your notes either be a simple diagram or 3 to 4 words. In this case, you at most need to look at your notes 3 or 4 times because that's all there is. And the rest of the time, you will be speaking about your actual experiences as you just experienced it and how the speaker could have improved your experience and your learning through the same speech. Thank you so much, Paramjit. Our next evaluator is evaluating the second speaker, and he is Arona So. Arona says, when asked about the team, empowering how he understands about the team. He says it is about empowering people and building visions that adapt to challenges, to navigate through uncertainty. Arona, let us hear your feedback for the second project speaker. Over to you.
Thank you, General Evaluator. I will present my evaluation on Ghada's speech on 3 parts. First of all, my takeaway from her speech, things she did well, and some suggestion in terms of improvement. First of all, I noticed that the title of her speech is related to its content. I noticed that she said, "You are the guide of the gates. You are the guide of your mind, because you decide what enter into your mind." Ghada, your delivering is related to the title of your speech, Mind Your Mind. And your speech was well structured, starting by what you means to you, by thinking positively. And through your personal story, you show us how thinking positively shape your words. That happened when you wrote the book titled Mind Management. Your speech delivering was also good. Your message was clear, and you were at least during your delivering. And in terms of vocabulary, we saw how you use your hands to illustrate your message, especially when you asking question. When you are asking question, you made also some pauses during your speech to allow the audience to absorb your message. Based on that, you have reached the objective of your speech. One thing's in terms of improvement, in terms of vocabulary, I suggest you to increase the volume of your voice during your speech delivering. Apart from that, it was a great speech, well structured, relevant title of your speech, relevant title of the speech related to the project. And for the next time, try to add more volume when you deliver your speech. Back to you, dear Junior Evaluator.
Thank you, Arona. What we can all observe and learn from Arona is that he has a very structured approach to its evaluation. He gives us a structure of what he wants to say, and then goes through each of those components and ends off with a summary and notices that everything he has done is done well. The yellow card is out. Good job in terms of structure. Where I encourage Arona to strengthen his evaluation is to also state right from the start, what is your key takeaway from the speech? One key takeaway, as well as how the goals of the speaker with regards to this key takeaway is. So for example, it can be to inspire, and the particular area where the person wants to work on is maybe storytelling. Using this, by stating this, you then have a criteria where you can talk about everything that happens in the speech and then choose 2 to 3 points to elaborate. And each time you elaborate, it will be, this is good because it has certain impact that helps with this. And you should do this because this has the impact and it helps you closer towards where you want to become. That would improve the effectiveness, which you are also working for your evaluations. Thank you so much, Arona. Our next evaluator is evaluating our third project speaker, and that will be Sonia Mann. Sonia says about the team, Trailblazer leadership means having the courage to move forward with vision and resilience, even when the path is not yet defined. A Toastmaster for France, 3 years of experience, and a very proud, not member, but now mascot of Leadership Speak. Let us hear your feedback, Sonia.
Thank you so much, General Evaluator Holmes. Hylin, you began your speech very clearly with number one, a fitting title, but also a clear takeaway that there is a lesson in every failure. And from that moment, it became very clear where you will take us with your speech. Your opening, you presented an engaging opening by asking us, making us reflect and leading us back to a particular scenario, quote, most of us have been there. After that strong opening, you shared your experience with the failure at Toastmasters. From the first moment being on stage and trembling, to the moment at the speech contest, where you sadly did not win, a very disappointing moment despite all your efforts and preparation. You continued with the realization that this is all about showing up, participating, and your conclusion that you took away from it. Failure is always a teacher. You ended by asking us, when we experience failure, to stop and ask for the lesson in that situation. A clear call to action for us. Knowing that this is your third language that you're learning, it was a pure joy for me to see your immense progress. I could clearly understand your speech. You displayed great vocal variety and body language by slowing down and being more quiet when it came to that failure, when the moment of disappointment, and speaking more slowly, speaking more faster and energetically and a little bit more louder when you realized the lesson in it, when you gained a new perspective and positivity and hope. I encourage you to review certain elements of your speech that could be possibly left out, as I realize that you exceeded your allocated time. Overall, it was a great speech to evaluate. Thank you. Back to you, G.E. Holmes.
Sonia, you mentioned that your learning goal includes wanting to encourage the speaker's growth. And for this, I want to commend you on. You helped not only the speaker to identify her strengths, but you also help the members and guests in the room to know why you are exceptionally speaking slower, being careful about your pronunciation, and stressing several points. Because Helene, which I'm proud to have her as a member in Leadership Speak, is using English as a third language and is growing very fast in the command of the English language, as well as the way she expresses herself as a self-directed leader. So good job on that, Sonia. Where I would want to push you is that in the midst of encouraging Helene and push her slightly and push you slightly. For example, when you want to do a recap of what Helene has said, rather than go through the structure, why not you come up with a structure or an analogy? 3, 4 points or the 4 stages. Don't use the specific facts, but you can use, for example, it's a growth stage, it's a death stage, it's a deep or sad stage. In this way, this also creates further conversation between you and your speaker when you connect with him or her, in this case, Helene, after the meeting. A second aspect that I would like to push you is that it is good to have a conversation with the speaker and then assess whether you could gradually become 30 seconds to a minute on encouragement and 2 minutes or close to 2 minutes on giving feedback on areas where the speaker can become more like the person that he or she likes to become. In this case, you can then balance between encouraging the speaker and the standards that we want to hold at Leadership Speak. As a premier club, as one of the top 5 clubs in the world, and a club that pushes for self-directed leadership. Thank you so much, Sonia. We have heard from our various evaluators. And next, I'd like to call upon our grammarian to share from her second perspective now on the use of the language of the meeting. Over to you, Angela Brown.
Thank you, Holmes. I think we had an exceptional meeting. We had an exceptional education speaker and also 3 other wonderful speeches. As part of my job, I was looking for quotes and phrases and words that leaves me thinking, wow, and that they were absolutely great. So, but first, I wanted to Joyce Kibe said, because I know the person I want to become, I am pursuing the person I want to be. In her attempt to show that she was pursuing her DTM, which is a great goal to have. Another quote, do not go where the path may lead, go instead where there is no path and leave a trail. And that was said by Irene, and the person who made the quote was Robert Waldo Emerson. Another amazing quote was by Irene Rosa Parks. I would rather be remembered as a person who wanted to be free, so other people would also be free. Another quote by Irene, your forest is waiting. What step will you take? And Helen said, failure is a part of the failure is a part of the path to success. And Haley also said, failure is the price of ambition. And one last quote, failure is the beginning of success. That was by Lydiah. And the word of the day was used 3 times by Joyce, Irene, and Ghada. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. And once again, I want to acknowledge and thank you for the dual role that you are playing in this meeting. One challenge I have for Angela, as well as future grammarians, including at this club and any other club, is that a list of what is good can actually be done if you were to post the list in the chat or to distribute the list later. So how can you make that 1 to 3 minutes, in most clubs 1 to 3 minutes, meaningful and more impactful? A suggestion that I have is, can you pick up a common theme from what you want to emphasize? Is it messages of encouragement, challenges to become better self-directed leaders? And perhaps spend a bit more time to evaluate, to assess how the word of the day could be used in particular areas, especially speeches and evaluations, so that the meeting theme is better emphasized in different speeches. You can end the speech, your language report, by saying, for the rest of the details, the report will be posted in the chat or maybe in the club meeting. Thank you so much, Angela, and I appreciate your service for this meeting. Before I start my general evaluation, I'd like to invite, oh yes, thank you so much, timer. You know what I'm thinking of. And I'd also like to invite the Zoom master to launch the poll for the best effort evaluator. Zoom master, can we have the poll, please? Thank you so much. Members and guests, as you're casting your votes, I will do my general evaluation. What is at the essence of an evaluation? My take, it is a gift. It is a gift that we have another fellow Toastmasters, and in leadership speak, someone who is experienced as a speaker, willing to offer his or her time, best of abilities, and suggestions, so that another Toastmaster can grow as much as possible, better leadership, better communication skills toward the direction that the Toastmaster have chosen. And because of my emphasis on this for this meeting, I have challenged all evaluators, and then this challenge stays even after this meeting, fellow members. Always keep at the top of your mind, what is the key takeaway from the speech, from the role? And when the speaker is planning for the speech or the role, how does the member imagine the ideal to be? Note here, it's not your ideal. It's the role taker or the speaker's ideal. You may disagree with what kind of ideal this is, but work with the member, appreciate the member's ideal, and journey with the person toward that ideal. For this, I thank and I commend evaluators such as Vinod for illustrating this. And to all evaluators, I have heard some aspects of this, and to all members, I encourage, even if you are a silent evaluator, do this for all the role takers, to all the speakers, as much as you can. As much as you can. Having established this as an evaluation, the point of evaluation, I'd like to offer a few suggestions for all members and guests. Firstly, at Leadership Speak, we are practicing to be executives, speaking to executives. I acknowledge that many of us painstakingly are taking out time and effort out of our work and personal lives to be here. Our meetings are not short. I know some Toastmasters Club have 30 minutes, 45 minutes meetings. Ours are never that short. Sometimes it goes up to 3 or 4 hours, including the post-meeting discussions. And I know this takes up a lot of time and effort. Nevertheless, when you have agreed to take up roles, it is always useful to let technology help you. Let technology help you. Visually, a Zoom background is helpful. Even if you are using a phone, placing it horizontally and using a Zoom background gives the appearance that using a laptop. And we don't have to know where exactly you are. We just need to know there is an executive speaking to me. Noise or background sounds is sometimes a bit harder, and I acknowledge that. because I have many challenges myself as part of my Toastmasters experience. So for this, I would ask as best as you can, because I do know that modern technology on audio, it is a bit difficult, but do the best you can. And I appreciate you being here, doing your role, despite whatever challenges or despite whatever constraints that you have. At that point and suggestion, even if you are a listener, it is helpful, and this is also for myself, it is helpful when you have your camera on, we can see your face and you are reacting through your facial expression and body language. As I speak and I look at myself as the main screen, I do observe a fair number of members who have your cameras on or off. Those who are on, thank you so much for showing that you are here to back up all the speakers and to show your expression, letting me know certain things that I say make sense to you, maybe make you laugh, maybe make you react, or maybe you just, what's Holmes saying? I don't agree. And that's fine. It's better than no reaction. Again, this is as best as you can. I acknowledge our meetings are long. I acknowledge everyone has constraints and busyness in your life. But as you are able to, as some members has done for you, why not return the favor to them by showing yourself and letting them know you are here to support them. In conclusion, members and guests, I encourage you to recall what are some of the core intentions you're here in Toastmasters and now in Leadership Speak. Even as a guest, this is an advanced club, and there are reasons you are here, you choose to spend a good 3 to 4 hours of your time here. Let those core reasons guide you along in terms of understanding what you should do as a speaker or evaluator, even if it's at other clubs or even in your workplace or personal lives. Let these good intentions also guide you when you come to a club like Leadership Speak to decide whether or not you should have your camera on, what kind of background, what kind of words, vocal varieties, and body language to use, even as a guest or even as just a passive audience with no roles. And a gentle reminder, the Zoom chat is there. No guest is an inactive or passive. No guest here is forced into the position to be inactive or passive. All of us here are equipped with the technology of the Zoom chat. We can put pictures even. As Marie have shown in the Zoom chat, we can post documents, we can post our reactions, and above all, we can show our beautiful, handsome and beautiful faces and smiles when we like something that is being said. Thank you so much, members and guests. With that, I'd like to hand back to our meeting manager, meeting leader, our Toastmaster of the day, to lead us with the last segments of the meeting. Over to you, Lydia.
Thank you very much, our GE. That was very rich evaluation. And I like the way you addressed everyone in the room, including our guests. Thank you very much. Now we are going to our last part. Our last part, we have a speaker who will give us the thought of the day, and that is Rashmi Udeshi. Toastmaster Rashmi Udeshi. Hi, Rashmi, how are you?
Hello, greetings, I'm fine, thank you.
Let me welcome you to give us the thought for the day. Over to you.
Greetings to all. The essence of today's theme, Trailblazer Leadership, where vision leads. Trailblazer is not about walking and leaving footprints to reach the finish line, but it's walking courageously on an unknown route, creating a path for others to follow. Early in my journey at the Toastmasters Club, being on the education committee with a club having more than 60 plus members, where members join to see their growth and development. I realized that we don't have a clear structure for our members to follow when it comes to mentorship. And that's when I decided to be a pioneer and curate a guide, a book called Toastmasters Mentorship Blueprint. And this is a resource for mentors and mentee to navigate mentorship program. Now, at our club, we are most structured, practical, and have an impactful mentorship program. And this leads me with 4 experiences and 4 takeaways from our speakers. And that is, vision guides on an unknown path with a compass and not with map. The second was, as bystanders to become trailblazer, we need to take one courageous step and to lead on a path and leave not footprints, but a path where others can follow and walk through. And finally, the role of trailblazer is to lift others and continue them on their journey. And I will like to leave you all with a thought: as a trailblazer, you create a lasting impact and not a temporary glory. You take steps boldly, courageously, and lead with vision. Thank you. Over to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Our last speaker was given us a very good thought of the day, Rashmi. Thank you for that. Now let me invite the Zoom master to display the certificates for the better speaker and the better evaluator. Zoom master. Drum rolls, drum rolls. We have Irene Sadia. Thank you very much, Irene, and congratulations. Oh, our best evaluator, drum rolls. That is Vinod Panicker. Congratulations to Vinod Panicker, to Irene Sadia, and even the other speakers. You did well, but we had to recognize the best speaker and the best evaluator. Thank you very much. Now let me invite our president to engage our visitors. President Holmes, over to you.
Thank you so much, TMOD. I'll be calling upon a few guests. I note that some guests may not have the camera available, but to the best extent that you can, I would really appreciate it if you will be able to interact with us with both your camera as well as your microphone on. If not, it is okay. We're very happy to have you here. Brian Sharp, are you available to share some of your comments for our meeting? Brian? Cedric Udeshi, are you available? Marie N.
Yes.
N. I hear a voice. That is from... Sorry, who just spoke out just now? I heard a yes.
Yes.
Cedric.
Toastmaster.
You'll need to download one. Oops, my apologies. Hi, Cedric.
Yes, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much, Cedric. How do you find today's meeting?
I find it quite educative. I picked 1 or 2 points from different speakers. For example, we had a speaker who first reminded us that courage beats comfort. Single step can lead to change of life generation. Then from also the evaluation, I picked 1 or 2 points that I can take for improvement in order to become better, even make club meetings to become even more better.
Thank you so much, Cedric. It makes my day when I hear guests having takeaways, not only just for their personal lives, but also for other Toastmasters Club. This is a very high level of praise that we deeply appreciate at Leadership Speak. And whenever you're available, Cedric, I continue to welcome you to visit us as you can. Thank you so much, Cedric.
Well, thank you very much.
Marie Ann, are you available? Yvonne Codrington, are you available?
Yes, I'm available.
Oh, Marie. Hi, Marie.
Hi, Holmes.
Give me one more moment. I'll speak to Marie first. Marie, I note you don't have your camera on. If it's because it's not convenient, that's fine. Can you share with us some of your comments for today's meeting, please, Marie?
Thank you, Holmes. It's been a great meeting. I've really enjoyed all the speeches from all the speakers. It's also been a very great learning opportunity from the speakers. They were very well prepared, very well formatted, and I also enjoyed the feedback from their evaluators. It was good to listen to the pointers based on what the feedback that they were receiving. So I would say for me, it's been a great meeting, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Marie. It's our pleasure to have you, and I invite you to continue to visit us. Yvonne, I noted you managed to unmute. Hello, Yvonne. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. There's a reason why I keep coming to your meetings, because I learn a lot, I observe a lot, and I enjoy the evaluations given by the evaluators. And I like the theme, how it gels with the speeches, and so I don't know how y'all get it done, but I enjoy it. So I keep coming. Once I am available, I will be present at your meetings. So thank you for having me. Share with you all.
Thank you so much, Yvonne. You are Leadership Speaks dear friend and always welcome to any of our chapter meetings. With that, I'd like to hand back the time back to our meeting manager, our meeting leader, the TMOD, who will conclude this meeting as well as lead a post-meeting discussion that I encourage all members and guests to stay on if you're available. Lydia, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, President Holmes. And now, and let me appreciate all the members, all the role takers. Thank you very much. And the guests also who are in the room. Thank you for being there until the end. And we appreciate you and welcome to our next meeting. And we're going to have another part that is the post meeting. Please, you are invited to also attend. Now, let me declare this meeting adjourned and